Hi, everybody. This is Pastor Alex, and I'm here to talk to you about the return to church this coming Sunday, November the 21st at 2:30. First of all, I want to show you what the church looks like and what you'll be encountering as you walk in through the door. Just remember that we are still in a pandemic. The coronavirus is still with us, and the Delta variant is spreading, although it's more under control here in Quebec than anywhere else. And so we're doing well, but it's not quite gone yet. We're going to continue to pray and believe God for this virus to go away. But the situation is not 100% normal, but we're getting a lot closer. So that's really good. So that's why we have restrictions. And I'm going to be reading the restrictions right off the Quebec government site so that there's no confusion whatsoever. Now, let me just go through the restrictions first before I show you the pictures of the church. And the print is pretty small, so I'm going to have to move in a little bit. Now, first of all, you must wear a mask when you come into the church. You must wear a mask. But there are different restrictions for people who have been vaccinated and people who have not been vaccinated. Let me just say from the onset that we're not going to distinguish between the two. We're not going to ask you if you've been vaccinated, and we don't want you to tell anyone if you've been vaccinated or not. Just walk into the church and find your seat and don't worry about it. But make sure that you have a mask on. Now, when you walk into the church, you're going to see this. Let me just go to that picture. On your left, you will see a little bottle with a disinfectant for your hands. So make sure that you disinfect your hands, you and your children, before you walk into the building. And that's all that is necessary. So wear your mask, disinfect your hands, go in, find your seat. That's as simple as it gets, my friends. And so back we come. All right. Now, if you are vaccinated, there is no restrictions as far as social distancing goes. You can talk to people, you can socialize, you can do whatever you like. You don't have to be 6 feet apart. You can be face to face. It doesn't matter. If you're not vaccinated, that's a little bit different. You have to keep 3 feet apart. So if you're not vaccinated, just display the common courtesy of just staying a little bit back when you're talking to people, and don't contact them, don't shake their hands, don't hug them or anything like that. Just tell them you're glad to see them. But if you are vaccinated, you can hug them, you can hold their hand, you can shake their hands, you can talk to them. Well, we can all talk to each other, actually, and we don't have to worry about it. Now, we're allowed to sing. How about that, eh? We're allowed to sing. The capacity for a church service is up to 250, so we don't have to worry about that because we're well under 250. And so we can sing. And what I would suggest is when you get to your seat, and if the mask starts bothering you or you have trouble breathing, pull it down. Pull it down off your face and just keep it around your neck so that if you need to just put it back on. That would be my recommendation. So remember, everybody has to wear a mask, including the children, as you're walking in. You wash your hands at the station I just showed you. You find your seat, you're able to sing, except for the worship team. They won't have masks on. I won't have a mask on. I will put my mask on after the service when I come to talk to you, but that's about it. But you can socialize all you want. You don't, if you're vaccinated, no social distancing at all. Let me just check that. Yeah, no social distancing at all. And there's no restriction to the capacity. Well, that doesn't affect us anyway, one way or the other. If you are not vaccinated, well, then you have to keep 3 feet apart, not 6, 3 feet, and just show courtesy. Now, if we have an altar call, we bring people to pray. If you are vaccinated, you don't have to worry about it. You can pray. We can lay hands on you. We can do whatever you want. But if you are vaccinated, just stand off to the back a little bit, about 3 feet away from everybody who's at the altar, and it should be okay. And when things get back to normal, hopefully we can throw off these restrictions and we don't have to worry about anything. One other thing, if you are sick, if you have the flu or you have cold symptoms, please stay at home. Do not come to the church. This is the guidelines of the government, but it's also my personal guideline. A godline is actually a good word. I like that, godline. Just be mindful and be compassionate and considerate of others. Now, the service format is not going to be much different than it was when we were online, especially for the first couple of Sundays, because we're just getting back into the swing of things and we're getting our feet wet. So there should be no more than 4 or 5 worship songs, and my message will not be very long. And there will be a time of socializing and prayer, either before or after the service. Excuse me. Oh boy. Yeah, either before or after the service. There'll be plenty of times for socializing. We won't shut the building down or anything like that. As far as I know, we don't have to clean the church or disinfect anything. So we're good that way. Now, let me show you what the church looks like. Let's go back to the screen share. As you walk into the building, this is what you're going to see. Now, they've done a fantastic job of renovating the church. They've put in a new carpet, as you can see. They've put lines on the floor. Those lines are irrelevant now. When I took these pictures, it was 7 or 8 months ago. So you don't have to worry about these lines. As you can see, all of the pews have been revarnished. They have been refurnished, and they look absolutely fantastic. They really do. In fact, here's a closer picture of, whoops, I just lost it. Let me go back again. Here's a picture of the platform. Isn't that beautiful? They put in a new red carpet, and they removed a lot of the big boxes that were in the way that contain the power amps. Those are off to the side now. And you can see there's plenty of room on the platform for singers and for the worship team and for myself. I'll be preaching from the pulpit, which is over here in the corner. The worship team will be in this area here. And the platform looks absolutely beautiful. Let me go back again to share screen. Here's what the pews look like. As you can see, they've all been redone. They look absolutely fantastic. And if you look down, you'll see the floor has also been redone. The floor has been stripped, and it has been waxed, and it has been cleaned. So in the winter, we'll have to take off our boots in the lobby and make sure that we don't trudge muck all over the place when we walk in. But anyway, this is what the pews look like. Now, you'll see there are green strips of tape on these pews. Let me explain what those are in a moment. Let me just get away from here and shut this down and then go back to share screen. Now, 6 months ago, these single strips of tape designated that only singles could sit there because at that time, social distancing was in place. And for families, it looked something like this. There were big, long strips of green tape for families, and they could all sit together. But that no longer applies, okay? That no longer applies. You are free to sit wherever you want, as close to people as you would like, as long as you are vaccinated. If you're not vaccinated, you'll have to be 3 feet away, maximum 3 feet away. Now, as far as the tithe and offering goes, if you're giving through Tithely, that's great. We appreciate that. It's a very easy way to give. If you haven't registered yet, I encourage you to do so. If you don't know how to register or you're having trouble, let me know and I'll make you another video to show you how you can register. But if you're still giving through envelopes or by mail and you want to bring your offering to the church, this is what I suggest. Watch very carefully. We did not order tithing envelopes this year because obviously we weren't sure when we were going to get back. So what I would do if I were you, and I do suggest this and recommend it because it makes it easier for our administrator to keep track of everything and to make sure that you get a tax receipt for next year, is take a white envelope like this, like I've done, and put your name and address and your postal code. And in the corner, you'll see here in this corner, I have my tithe envelope number. My number is number 65. So Pastor Alex Lapos, 58 Chartres, DDO, Quebec, H9A1J5. And you can put your offering in there. And if you want, you can put the amount on the front. I didn't put the amount here because there's nothing in it. But, and I'm giving through Tithely, so I'm not going to be doing this. But if you're still giving through envelope, this is the way to do it. And you can maybe put your amount down in this corner here. But make sure you put your name and address and your tithing envelope number. If you don't have one, that's okay. But at least put your name and address and your postal code, and Katia will be sure to get you a tax receipt. Well, we're all very excited about getting together again. I'm going to spend the entire week praying and asking the Lord what he would have me share with you for that very first Sunday. But here's what I recommend. I know that we're all anxious to get back and we're wondering how things are going to work out. I just want to remind you that's going to take a little bit of time for us to get going again. I'm not sure how many of you will come out. I hope all of you come out. I'm not sure how many of you will be reluctant or nervous about coming out. It's, after all, it's been over a year and a half that we've been in the sanctuary. But in time, as things begin to progress, things will get back to normal. I have no doubt about that. As far as the direction of the church is, we pretty well know where we're going. And I'm going to be speaking about that in the next couple of Sundays, of what kind of a church we want to be. I actually started last Sunday when I talked about we are the kingdom. That should give you an idea that we want to be more than just getting together and having a church service and going home and then not seeing each other for a week and then getting together again. No, we want to make a difference in our community. And we also want to connect with each other in a much more deep way, which was practically non-existent during the COVID, that's for sure, because we couldn't see each other. We couldn't travel to each other's homes. I know we had a couple of events and a wedding, but it was all very restricted. And before that, it wasn't that great either. So I'm hoping that we will be encouraged to really connect with one another and open up our hearts, open up our homes, and open up our lives to one another and to those outside of us who are not saved, who do not know the Lord. That's what we're all about. That's what we are all about. We have been called and commissioned to bring the kingdom to those who are outside of it. And that happens through faith in Jesus Christ. So I'm praying that we'll be bold. And the last thing I want to say is that I have prayed this over and over again. Unless the Lord builds the house, they labor in vain that build it. I'm trusting and hoping and praying for an outpouring of the Spirit unlike we've never experienced before, because yes, we have challenges ahead of us and we have problems to solve and we have issues to confront and we have a direction to set, although we took big steps towards that in the first year of the pandemic with the leadership. But without the outpouring of the Spirit, nothing is going to happen. And that is what I'm looking for. So one last thing before you come expecting and come ready to give, not just to receive. I said in the message last Sunday that I asked the question, actually, are you coming to church to be comforted or to be empowered? Well, I think for the first couple of Sundays, we're coming for both, to be comforted, because it's been a long haul, this COVID thing, and it continues to this day, and it's affected every one of us, not in a great way. I know that we're going to feel strange in the beginning, when there's distance between us. Our relationships have suffered a little bit because of the lack of communication. We all need to be comforted, but we also need to be empowered, because we don't know what challenges are ahead of us. Things could get a lot worse. And I believe that the church really has to be galvanized and connected together, because we're going to need every one of us working together, praying together, worshiping together, and just supporting one another like never before, to be able to confront this beginning of the last days, which all the pastors in this city and myself know that we are in. The last days are upon us, and we've got to be strong, and we cannot be strong isolated, staying in our homes, neglecting the service. Let's come out. I'll see you November the 21st at 2:30. God bless you. Bye-bye.